everybody. How are you? So it's great to see everybody again. So this week we are starting Unit 2 for the Smrt, Smrt Level 115B. So if you have access to the Smrt curriculum, you can follow along for Unit 2. And if you're a premium subscriber, you'll get new homework this week. And in a couple weeks, after we finish Unit 2, you'll get another test. All right, are you guys ready to get started today? Yay! Okay, here we go. So the first thing I want to do is answer a question that someone asked in the chat. So Ziad asked about these three words here: hill, hall, and hell. And I'm just going to explain what these words mean, and then I'll talk about the speaking. A hill is like a small mountain, like a baby mountain. A hall is sort of a long indoor area. Like in your house, maybe between your rooms, you have a long indoor area. This is a hall. And then hell is the opposite of heaven, which is an idea in many different religions. So hill, hall, hell. So this is an I, aw, eh. Hill, hall, hell. All right, I hope that answers your question. Okay, so today's lesson is going to be present simple. So again, if you have the Smrt website, you can go to the Smrt website here, and we're gonna click Me, Open, and then Unit 2 is Everyday Life. If you don't have access to the Smrt website, that's okay. You can just watch. You just don't get all the extra homework and quizzes and feedback and things like that. Okay, so we've talked about present simple before, especially for be verbs, but we haven't talked a lot about why we use present simple or some of the special spelling rules for present simple. So we're going to talk about those today. So before we get started, I'm just going to look at the chat and make sure there's no other questions. Oh, we do have a couple questions. Okay, give me just a moment. Our first question is from Melinda. Melinda says, I'm confused about this tense. It's named present simple, but I think it's not simple. That's very true. I don't know how to use it correctly, and I usually misuse it with other tenses. So a lot of people have trouble knowing when to use present simple and when to use other different grammar points. So I hope that today's lesson will answer some of your questions. And if you still have big questions at the end, please write them in the chat and I'll see if I can answer them. Okay, all right, and then a few other people asked questions. Someone asked about the difference between compound sentence and complex sentence. I can do just a little bit of information on that before we get started. So compound sentence and a complex sentence. Compound and complex sentences are sentences with two or more clauses. A clause is a subject plus a verb that go together, a subject and verb pair. A compound sentence joins two clauses with a coordinating conjunction. Those are our fanboys. which we talked about, I think, a little bit before. Words like for, and, nor, but, or, yet, and so. Or you can also use a semicolon to join a compound sentence together. A semicolon is this one. It looks like a comma and a period together. And I'll just give you an example sentence for each one. So a compound sentence with, actually I'll put this together. Okay, a compound sentence with a coordinating conjunction will look like this. He woke up and he ate breakfast. He woke up is a clause. He ate breakfast is a clause. And these two clauses are joined together with the word and. And is one of the fanboys. Okay, and we always use a comma plus a fanboy. The other way we can make compound sentences is with a semicolon. For example, you can say, he woke up, he ate breakfast. Really, a semicolon is just like a period, like a full stop. We just use it if we want to join the clauses together instead of putting them separately. That's all. Semicolons look scary, but they're really just fancy periods. Okay, and for complex sentences, a complex sentence joins two clauses with a subordinating conjunction. There are many, 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 many subordinating conjunctions in English, but I'll list a few. Subordinating conjunctions are like if, because, when, while, words like that. Those are subordinating conjunctions. And we can join sentences like this. Maybe he is tired because he hasn't slept. So he is tired is a clause. He hasn't slept is a clause. And we join these two clauses together with because. Because is a subordinating conjunction. And you don't need a comma if it's in the middle of your sentence. If it's at the beginning, like this, because he hasn't slept, what did I do there? He is tired, then you do need a comma. Just know that anytime you begin a sentence with a subordinating conjunction, you have to put a comma. Because if you don't put a comma, we don't know when the next clause begins. Okay, so that was very short and sweet, the difference between compound and complex. Okay, but now for today's lesson. Today's lesson is present simple. Are you ready to look at the slides? Let's look. Okay, so for present simple, here are some examples of present simple sentences. We have, what do you do? Answer, I'm a teacher. And then we have another question, what do you teach? And our answer, I teach math. All right, we see that we use do for questions. So let's learn all the rules for that. Here's the form for how to make present simple sentences. First, we're going to do positive sentences. So for subjects I, you, we, and they, we just put the verb. So you can think of it as verb 1, like the infinitive verb. Like go, went, gone, just put go. Eat, ate, eaten, eat. And then for subject he, she, or it, we're going to add s. So eats, for example. Or instead of drink, drinks, reads, plays, like that. Okay, and we've studied this part before. I hope you remember. I'll also show you the negatives in the questions, and then we're going to get into the big difficult parts for today. Here's for the negatives. The negatives for I, you, we, or they, we can say do not, or you can put it together and say don't. And then after that, we use verb 1, the infinitive verb. So I do not drink, or I don't drink coffee in the morning. But for he, she, or it, we're going to use does not or doesn't. Doesn't is just does not together. So we have does not drink or doesn't drink. But you see here, drink, no S. We're going to use the infinitive verb, the number 1 verb. So your S is right over here. You don't need to. Just put the S on the auxiliary verb. Don't put it on the main verb. Okay? All right. So I'm going to just show you the questions very quickly. First, we'll do yes or no questions. Yes or no questions begin with do or does. So again, for subject I, you, we, or they, we're going to begin with the word do. Like, do I drink? Do you drink, for example? And again, we're going to use that verb 1, the infinitive verb. This is the same for he, she, it. We also use the infinitive verb, but we begin the sentence with does. So does he drink? Does he read? Does he play? For example, no S. We don't say does she listens. No. Just does she listen? Okay? I'll show you one more thing, and that's for question word questions. Short answers first. So how to answer a yes or no question. We have, do you drink coffee in the morning? We can answer yes, I do, or no, I don't. Or do they play baseball in the summer? We can say yes, they do, or no, they don't. For he, she, or it, we're going to say doesn't. For example, does she play baseball? Yes, she does, or no, she doesn't. Oh, and we have a couple examples right here. Does he take the bus to school? Yes, he does. No, he doesn't. Oh my goodness, there's a mistake here. I'm gonna have to write to Mark. Oh, Mark, you're not allowed to make mistakes. He put, do she listen to music? Oh, no, don't write that. I'm gonna fix this on our notes, okay. So we don't wanna say do she, does. Does she, and then what was the sentence here? Listen to music a lot. All right, does she listen to music a lot? And our answer can be yes, she does, or no, she doesn't. All right, fantastic. So I also put a chart here just so we can see all of this information at the same time. Just because I always like to put everything in boxes. It makes it easier for me to remember and understand. So for I, you, we, or they, and here's positive, negative, and question. We have an example. We can say we like English. we don't like English. And then our yes/no question is, do we like English? And we make the positive with a subject and a number one verb, an infinitive verb. Like go, went, gone, go. Like, liked, liked, like. This is our subject. This is our verb 1. For negative, we don't like English. We put subject, don't, and verb 1. And for the question, do we like English? We put do, subject, and verb 1. For he, she, and it, it's different. So for he, she, and it, for the positive, we're going to add an S on our number 1 verb. So we're going to say, he likes English. Subject plus verb S. For the negative, though, we say he doesn't like English. We use a subject, doesn't, but then we use our verb 1. So no S here. And for the question, does he like English? Does is how we begin our sentence, and then we put our subject and our verb 1. Okay, so that's just the same information, but in a box, so you can see everything on the screen at one time. Okay, I'm just gonna check the chat real quick and make sure we don't have any questions. Here we go. All right, it looks like we're doing pretty good. I think everybody, there's lots of conversation going on too in the chat, but it doesn't look like we have any questions about the grammar, so that's good. Okay, so I'm just going to show you how to make question word questions, and then we'll do some spelling rules, and then why we use present simple. Okay, here we go. So questions with question words. So question words are those words like where, when, what, why, who, how. Those are some examples for question words. So to make a question with the question word, you just put it before the do or does in your question. So a yes/no question, we can say, do I study? But a question word question, we just add one of these words. Where do I study? When do I study? What do I study? And for he, she, or it, we just use does, just like yes or no questions. We can say, where does he study? When does he study? What does he study? All right. So now for the fun stuff. We're going to talk a little bit about spelling. Yay, spelling. Spelling in English is a little difficult because we have many, many rules and also lots of exceptions to the rules. But these are some rules that can help you with present simple. First, usually we add an S to the verb for he, she, or it. So usually we just add an S, like play, plays, for example. But we do have some special rules. Our first special rule is if a verb ends in X, SH, or CH, we're going to add ES. Like, also if it already ends with S, you're gonna add ES as well. So we have a couple examples. We have fix, fixes. Finish, finishes. Watch, watches. And each time we add es. So, and I'd like to add one more to that. I would like to add, also if it ends with s, like the word kiss. Because we can't have 3 s's in a row, right? We can't say kiss. It doesn't sound right, right? We're gonna have to say es. So again, if your last letter is x, sh, or ch, or s, we're going to add es. Can you think of any examples of words in the chat? Oh, let's see. We have some questions here. And if it ends in O, so actually we're going to talk about that one in just a minute. If it ends in O, like the word go or do, yes, we're also going to add es. Good. And that's true for many, but not all nouns as well. Like the word hero, we would add an es. So good. We'll talk about that in just a minute, Claudine. So good. Good job. All right. So we have some questions about infinitives and prepositions. I'll try to answer those after I do the spelling. Okay. I know everybody has so many questions. That's awesome. Okay. So we have fixes, finishes. Those are good examples. Let's see if we can do a few more. Do you know any other words that end in x? Any other verbs that end in x or that end in ch, like watches, or that end in sh, like finishes? Let's see if we can think of some more. Oh, good. We have searches. That's a good one for ch. So let me put ch here, and I'll put x here, and I'll put sh here, and put s here. All right, so ch, we have watches, searches. Oh, for x, we have relaxes. Good, good job. Anybody else? Let's see. Yep, relax, that's a good one. Fayaz, very nice. How about like wishes? Dishes. Good, very nice. How about catch? Catches. And then, how about S? Maybe misses. Oh, match, catch. Oh, I'll do matches here. So good. These are good examples. Box, boxes. And box can be a verb. If you box something, it means you put something in a box. Good. And it can also be the sport, like boxing, like he boxes his opponent. Good. Oh, we have waxes, fetches. Those are good ones. Good, good, good. Foxes. Foxes is a noun, but that works really well too. Good, good. Okay, and then fly is a good one we're going to talk about in just a minute. Because if your last letter is Y, we also have some special rules. Actually, let's talk about that right now. So good segue, Santos. Okay, so our second rule has to do with the letter Y. Our second rule says if the verb ends with a consonant plus Y, we're going to change Y to IES. So I'll explain consonant. A consonant is the opposite of a vowel. A vowel is like A, E, I, O, or U. These are vowels. So A, E, I, O, U. A consonant is a letter that's not a vowel. So it's all the other letters. And I think I have a list here. Let's see. Yes. So these are the consonants in English. We have B, C, D, F, G, blah, blah, blah. These are consonants. I'll just put a couple here. B, C, D, blah, blah, blah. There are many consonants. Okay, so back to the rule. If the verb ends with a consonant plus Y, we're going to change our Y to IES. So the word fly, which was our example, very nice. The word fly has LY. L is a consonant, so we're going to change Y to IES. Or study, the last letter here before Y is D. D is a consonant, so we say studies. So let's put a few examples here. So we have consonant plus Y, and some of our examples are flies and studies. Let's see, does anybody have more examples in the chat? We have copies, good. Oh, and somebody asked about the word play, and we're going to talk about that next, the word play. So hang on just a minute for that one, very good. Let's see, cry, cries, very good. And then try, tries, very nice. Those are great examples, everybody. All right. Says and enjoys. Ooh, somebody asked about those too. Okay, I think it's time we have to learn Rule 3 because we have lots of questions about words like play or enjoy or say. Let's look. Here we go. Rule number 3. If the verb ends with a vowel plus Y, we only add S. We don't change to IES. So before the Y, you see here we have the letter A. A is a vowel, so we don't need IES. We just put S. And it's the same for the word say. The letter A is before the Y, so we don't need IES, just S. And the same for the word enjoy. Someone wrote that in the chat. So let's put those examples. If you have a vowel plus Y with words like plays or says or enjoys, can you think of any more? Oop, I had a couple more for the last one. We have replies for consonant plus Y. Oh, complies is another good one. Very nice. I'm going to put destroys. Kind of a negative word, but. So good, good. We have lays. Very nice. Good job, Rosa. All right. Oh, and we have a few more from student. We have phrase and flays and conveys. Good. Good job. Oh, interesting. Santos asked about the word beautify. So beautify has a consonant plus a Y, so then we're going to put IES, beautifies. Beautify means to make something beautiful. So good, very good examples, everybody. We're doing great. Okay, we had a couple more. We had day and days, pays and pays. Very nice. Oh, sways, that's a nice word too. Sways means to move like this. Very nice. Oh, deploys? Wow, we have lots of good vocabulary words here. Good job, everybody. Okay, so I think that's enough examples. We can understand these rules, right? So rule number 1, I'll put here, is if your last letter is S, X, CH, or SH, then we're going to put ES. Our second rule is consonant plus Y. In consonant plus Y, we're going to put IES instead of the Y. And then finally, our last rule, oops, I'll call that rule 2. Good. And our last rule is rule number 3. Here we go. Which is if you have vowel plus Y, then we just put S. We don't need the IES. Excellent. Okay, and then if your last letter is O, we're also going to put ES. There's not a lot of verbs that end with the letter O, and there are exceptions if it's a double O, things like that. So we're just going to make a rule 4 that says if your verb is go, we're going to change it to goes. And if your verb is do, we're going to change it to does. That's going to be our rule 4. Go, goes, do, does. I'm actually going to add one more. The Smrt doesn't say this one, but have is irregular. We're going to change have to has, because that's a tricky one for many people. We don't say haves. Have we change to has. All right. So I think that was all of the rules. Yep, go becomes go, do becomes does. All right. I think that means we're ready to talk about why we use present simple. All right, I hope you're ready. Why do we use present simple? There are many reasons why we use present simple. And let's look at the number 1 here. It says English speakers use the present simple to describe habits and routines. A habit or a routine is something that you do a lot. Maybe every day, maybe every week, maybe every month. It's an action that you repeat. So let's look at some examples. Our first example says, I always get up early in the morning. Our next example says she doesn't drink coffee. Here, my meaning is not she doesn't drink coffee right now. I'm talking about usually. Her habit is not to drink coffee. So her habit is she doesn't drink coffee. I'm talking about all the time, not just right now. Okay? And then we have he checks his email after work. And because I use present simple, I know that this sentence means he always checks his email after work. This is his habit. I don't have to say the word always or usually. I understand this from the sentence. But you can say always or usually or words like that if you want. But if you use present simple, it means that this is a habit or a routine. All right. I'll do one or two more, and then I'll stop and give a bunch more examples and we'll practice. Another reason we use present simple is for facts. Facts are things that are true. Some facts are always true. And we have some examples. So alarm clocks wake people up. Always, right? Alarm clocks don't make people sleep. So this is something that's always true. Or penguins don't fly. Again, this is always true. I can say Nicole comes from the United States. I don't sometimes come from Brazil. That would be funny, right? No, always, 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 I come from the United States. I think maybe we have one more example. Let's see. Nope. Okay. So again, facts are, here we go. Something that are always true. Facts can also be something that are true for a long time. And I have a couple examples of those too. Here we have, I work at this school. I work at this school. So I work at this school. This is true for a long time. Not always. When I was a baby, I didn't work at this school. When I'm 100 years old, I probably won't work at this school. But this is something that's true for a long time. All right, let's look at one or two more examples. We have she lives in the city. So maybe she lives in the city 10 years. So not forever. Maybe she was born in another city or another country. But if it's true for a long time, we can use present simple. If it's true for a short time, we use present continuous. And we're going to talk about that in a later lesson. But anything that's true but just for a short time, like right now, we're going to use present continuous, a different grammar. Okay. He plays the piano. Again, this is something that's true for a long time. Maybe he started to play piano when he was a child, and maybe he has played piano for 10 years. We can say he plays the piano. And long time or short time, this is your opinion, your thinking. If you think it's a long time, you can use present simple. So if you think, maybe you study English. Maybe you started studying English 2 years ago, and you think 2 years is a long time. You can use present simple. You can say, I study English, because it's true for a long time. All right, I think those are the only two that the Smrt talk about here. So we're gonna stop for a minute so I can answer questions and I can give you some more examples. Okay, so again, we use present simple for habits and routines. So habits and routines, again, are something that you do again and again for a long time. Like we say, he always studies, or they never smoke cigarettes, or she plays piano every day. So always, never, and every day. These are some words we can use to show that we're talking about a habit or a routine. Again, you don't have to use them. We could just say, he studies. That's fine. We understand that this is a habit. This is something that you do again and again for a long time. But we very often use words like always, never, or every day. Okay. We also use present simple for facts that are always true. And some of our examples were penguins don't fly, or Nicole comes from the United States. These are things that are always, always true. We could say the sun rises in the east. Or you could say the sun moves from east to west. That never changes. That is always, always, always true. So we can use present simple. All right. And one more. Things that are true, facts that are true for a long time. So for example, Nicole teaches English. Again, I didn't teach English when I was a baby. But I have taught English for 12 years, a long time. So I can say Nicole teaches English. This is true for a long time. I can also say Nicole lives in Spokane. Again, this is true for a long time. I've lived in Spokane for 7 years. All right. So let's take a look at the chat, and I think I have some examples from students. Let's see. All right. Oh, welcome. A lot of people just joined us. Let's see. Okay. And I'll try to answer the questions about verb patterns at the very end, okay? Someone keeps asking about this one. I'll try to answer that at the very end. But before that, and someone says that penguins can fly if you throw them, at least for a while. True, that's true. Or if you buy them maybe a first class or economy ticket, maybe they can fly that way too. All right, but good job. Are we okay so far? Is this pretty easy? Okay, I'm going to give you just a little bit more information. So for level 2, we focus on habits and routines, facts that are always true, and facts that are true for a long time. But there are a couple more reasons why we use present simple, although we usually study these in a higher level. We also use present simple for a scheduled event that you can't change. Other people can change it, but you can't change it. I'll give you some examples. For example, the bus comes at 7:45 a.m. Or my plane leaves at 5:30 p.m. Or the party starts at midnight. Very late party. So if there is a scheduled event that you can't change, you didn't make the event, then you can also use present simple to talk about it. And it actually doesn't matter if the event is in the future. It's okay if it's in the future. So here the bus comes at 7:45. You can say this at 7:30 and just say, oh, the bus comes at 7:45. And that's a little strange, I know. You can use present simple to talk about the future if you're talking about a scheduled event that you can't change. Okay, again, that's higher level stuff, but I just wanted to add it. I'm gonna add one more thing that's just a little bit difficult, and that's state verbs. I have some examples of state verbs here. State verbs are special verbs that are always simple. We don't use the continuous form. So some verbs we just always use with present simple. And you just have to memorize them. These are some. There are more. I just put a few examples. But I'll write a few example sentences so you can see what I mean. We can say, I like this class now. Usually if we talk about now, we use a different grammar point. We use continuous. But we can't say, I am liking this class now. This is bad grammar. Bad grammar. Because like is a state verb. So again, state verbs are just special verbs you have to memorize, and they are always simple. Present simple, past simple, future simple, present perfect simple. Simple. Not continuous. Not present continuous, not past continuous, not future continuous. And we're going to study these more in a future lesson. I just wanted to introduce the idea. So if you don't understand this 100%, that's okay. We're going to study it more in a future lesson. Whew, that was a lot of information. Let's see how much time we have. Oh good, we still have a little time. I'm going to check, see if we have any questions about this first in the chat. Let's see. I'm going to take just a minute to answer these questions about verb patterns. Okay, so in the chat, lots of people are asking about verb patterns. And then, let me see exactly what the question is. The infinitive has to plus verb one. Why neglected the preposition to? And let me explain here that to is sometimes a preposition and sometimes part of the verb. They look the same, but they are not the same. I'll give you an example. Okay, I have two sentences here. My first sentence says, I go to school. My second sentence says, I like to study. In this sentence, to is a preposition. It's a preposition because it's before a noun. Prepositions are always before nouns. School is a noun. Okay, and that's something that's always true. Prepositions are always before nouns. Okay. I like to study. Study is not a noun. Study is an infinitive verb. So to here, it's not a preposition. Here, to is part of the verb. The verb together is called a to infinitive. So we can just think of it as to infinitive. That's the name of the verb. You can think of it like that. We have two infinitives. We also have bare infinitives. Bare infinitives don't have a to. Okay. And generally, I hope this will answer your question. I'll just give you some general information about verb patterns. So in English, when you have two full verbs together, we have to change the second one. I'm going to write that down. When we have two full verbs together, we have to change the second one. And I'll write some examples and I'll explain more in just a moment. But first I want to explain full verb. When I say full verb, I mean not auxiliary verb. I'm not talking about auxiliary verbs. So auxiliary verbs are like he doesn't study. Doesn't is an auxiliary verb. Or I can't see. Can't is an auxiliary verb. We're not talking about auxiliary verbs. Full verbs are like and study, or play, go, want, need, enjoy. Those are full verbs. Okay. And we have some general rules. I'll make a little table here. Okay. So if your first verb, actually I'll just put, first verb. If your first verb is a word like enjoy, finish, or stop, then our second verb, we're going to use verb ing. So for example, I enjoy studying, or he finished working. So what happens is you have to look at the first verb. If your first verb is one of these, then your second verb, we have to change to verb ing. Does that make sense? And there's a big list of special verbs that take ing after. And there's no easy way to do it. You just have to memorize them. You have to save them. I'll give you some examples with to. I'll make another little table. Okay. If your first verb is something like want, need, hope, let's see, decide, choose, something like that, then your second verb, we're going to use a to infinitive. There we go, to infinitive. And the to is not a preposition. It's just part of the verb. And it's just what happens when you put these two full verbs together. The second one changes to a to infinitive. I'll give you a couple examples. I want to study. If your first verb is want, your second verb, we change to to. Or I hope to sleep. If your first verb is hope, your second verb, we're going to use to. Now there are some verbs where it doesn't matter if you use to or ing, but it's a very short list. I think there's only maybe 8 in all of English, where you can choose whichever one you want. And these are like, love, hate, prefer, start, begin, continue. I think that's it. Maybe there's just 7. Okay. So like, love, hate, prefer, start, begin, continue. If your first verb is one of those, then your second verb, you can use verb ing, or you can use to or to infinitive. Put that together. I'm putting them in a little box so you know that it's just together. It's like one thing. To plus infinitive. So for example, I like studying, or I like to study. All right, so let's see. I hope that answers most of the questions, and let me see. Let's see. It says the verbs in the simple present are infinitives, but infinitives have clear rules. Okay, so infinitives do have clear rules. So there are 3 forms of the verb. We have, for example, eat, ate, eaten. The first word is the infinitive. The second word is our past simple. And our third form is our past participle. The infinitive is what we also call our base verb. And there's a reason we call it the base verb. It's because we build other verbs off of the base verb. Like when we say verb ing, for example, it's actually infinitive plus ing. So that's why we say eating or going. Eat is our infinitive. Go is our infinitive. So that's one reason we use infinitives, is as a base form to build words. It's also our base form for present simple. So we build off of the base verb. We also use base verbs, infinitives, after auxiliaries, particularly modal auxiliaries, and do, does, did for present simple, past simple, negatives, and questions. And there's other places too where we use infinitives. But you're absolutely right, we have clear rules for when we use infinitive verbs. But you can also think of infinitives as base verbs, which we use to build different verb forms. I hope that answers your question. You have lots of good questions. I think we're just about out of time here. All right. I just want to remind everybody, first of all, that if you want homework, if you want quizzes, if you want me to check your work or to be able to ask me some questions, like outside of class time, you can become a premium subscriber. A premium subscriber is a paid version of this class. So you can contact Zach on Facebook if you are interested in becoming a paid subscriber. And if not, that's okay. You can always watch these for free. You just don't get all the added bonuses. All right. So I hope that this was helpful for everyone today. If you have any more questions, you can ask me next Thursday, because I will be teaching another lesson, same time, same place, on Thursday. So thank you so much, everybody. I had a wonderful time, and I hope to see you all again very, very soon. All right, thank you so much. Bye-bye.